Welcome back to another episode of Getting Up Raw, where if you're new to this channel, it is a particular segment that I do on a weekly basis where we talk about certain political, social, cultural, or global topics that affect us as society and that'll help us engage in some sort of civil discourse and open up a conversation through which we can learn some shit from each other. My name is Adam, or NYZ Adam, whatever have you, and today we're getting up raw with Portland, Oregon, okay? And let me emphasize the fact that it's pronounced Oregon, okay? Because a lot of New Yorkers say Oregon. Hey, Google, how do you pronounce Oregon?
That's pronounced Oregon.
Thank you, okay? And I get it. I know jaded New Yorkers. I am one. But we have to know the names of other places other than our own. But I digress. Look, the Department of Homeland Security has sent out, under the jurisdiction or under the executive order of President Donald J. Trump, military personnel to police peaceful protesters, moms, the mayor, and naked women. Okay? There's a lot to uncover there, but I'm gonna touch upon all those subjects and what's really going on in this city that's otherwise known for its quirkiness and Portlandia, fed Armisen, and artisan organic chicken that gets massaged before it's slaughtered. I love that show, by the way. But look, we are talking about something serious, and I do want to kind of change gears here, and I want to be 100% clear on the origins of what's going on in Portland. Back in June, right, a little less than a month ago, President Donald J. Trump issued an executive order protecting statues and national monuments. Okay, that's his shtick. He's the president of law enforcement, or whatever the fuck he calls himself, right? And under this executive order, he sent military personnel or military agents, officers, whatever you want to call them, to cities where there may be trouble brewing, right? One of them being Portland, Oregon. Here's the problem. These military officers are policing non-federal grounds and arresting, scooping up protesters, putting them into vans, unmarked vans, and shipping them off for some interrogation, right? In one instance, protesters spoke to the Oregon Public Broadcasting Service and corroborated a story that they covered where one protester was shipped off in one of these vans and interrogated for several hours without ever having been read their rights. It wasn't until this person asked to see a lawyer or speak to a lawyer that the people wound up letting them go. Right? That's some fucking scary shit. That's scary shit, right? That sounds like fascism, right? Where are my slippery slope people? Right? People love talking about the slippery slope. This is as slippery as it gets. All right? There's some splish splash shit. Okay, for those of you not from New York, Splish Splash is a water park at the end of Long Island. Okay, so we're talking about policing innocent people, civilians, peaceful protesters, under what jurisdiction? Okay, if you watch a lot of these videos, which I'm going to leave links for a lot of these videos in the description below, you're going to see that a lot of people who are being arrested, tear-gassed, or beaten with batons did nothing to merit any sort of treatment like that. Nothing. Okay, as a matter of fact, the mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler, my lighting is changing. The mayor, Ted Wheeler, was present at a protest last night and was actually tear-gassed. And I have a quote here from him where he says, "I can tell you with 100% honesty that I saw nothing which provoked this response." He's referring to the tear-gassing. "This is an egregious overreaction on the part of the federal officers. A lot of these people hate my guts. Okay? But take these people out of our city. They are not helping us. They are hurting us. They're escalating an already dangerous situation. Now, when he says a lot of these people hate my guts, he's actually referring to the protesters, right? So the protesters, obviously the Black Lives Matter movement carries a lot of talking points and initiatives and objectives, one of them being, or a couple of them being, abolishing the police or defunding the police, which Mayor Ted Wheeler has his reservations on. So naturally, there's clash in opinion. But last night, they were able to demonstrate and protest peacefully under the mere notion that these federal or military officers should not be policing their city, right? Especially not in the way that they're doing it, okay? If you heard over the weekend, there was a movement on Saturday called the Wall of Moms. Okay, the Wall of Moms were these group of women who were all mothers that blockaded a particular area of the protest to protect their sons and daughters who were protesting. These military personnel responded with tear gas because I don't know, they feared for their life and sought fit to release tear gas on innocent civilians who were doing nothing but practicing their First Amendment right. Okay? Slippery slope. People being scooped up into vans. Slippery slope. The mayor of a city being tear gassed. Slippery slope. There was this other woman who was dubbed Naked Athena, right? You may have seen her. A video of her or an image of her went viral. She was this naked woman who walked slowly and bravely, I should say, courageously, walked towards these military officers and stood her ground, even whilst being bombarded with rubber bullets and tear gas. Okay, she was never shot, but they were shot in her direction and in front of her to sort of send her away. So now keep in mind, these military officials or officers or whatever, federal officers, are decked out head to toe in camouflage, helmets, bulletproof vests, masks, goggles, the whole 9 yards. Which, of course, right? That's, you want to protect yourself. We're in a pandemic. You should be wearing a mask, etc., etc. But this woman is here standing butt-ass naked with nothing to hide. But you still feel the need to shoot at her. For what purpose? For what purpose? Is that the right way to handle the situation, right? A situation that was sparked because of police brutality, because of over-policing, because of abuse of power. That's the reason why this shit is happening, okay? It was all sparked from George Floyd, but the origins are all the same. It's abuse of police power. And militarizing the situation is just aggravating everything. Okay? Antagonizing a situation that was already dying down. And I don't mean the movement was dying down. I mean that, a lot of the rioters that were there in the beginning or towards the middle are starting to, dwindle away. Okay? And look, with every protest and riot, with every protest, there's always going to be rioters. There's always going to be people that are taking advantage of the situation, right? And using it for their own shit, right? There's always going to be exploiters. That is impossible to avoid, okay? I refuse to believe that everyone present at the Boston Tea Party was there for merited reasons, right? They were not all there to stand up against King George, right? They were not all there to stand up against taxation without representation. There was definitely that one person that saw, hey, look, that seems to be a really cool outfit. Let me go and exploit that culture, right? Let me appropriate that outfit and join the party. Now, I can't historically corroborate that, but I don't know. A part of me is very inclined to believe that there was at least one person there with that demeanor. Regardless, I digress. Martin Luther King Jr. said it himself, right? A riot is the language of the unheard. All right? That is inevitable. This has been going on for years. Okay? Police brutality against marginalized groups of people has been going on for decades. Okay? We're slowly getting better, but we're also not, because a lot of the same issues still exist. Legislatively speaking and structurally speaking. Okay? Now I'm diving off into my own opinion here, and I want to hear yours, but we're not going to see a lot of change until we really sit down and discuss legislation, discuss change in infrastructure that's going to promote or generate equality and fairness, okay, for everybody. None of this shit is going to change unless we really sit down and unless we both listen to each other. And that goes for the president listening to the protesters. Okay? Right now, the president has taken his stance to ostentatiously exhibit brute political force, right, in order to compensate for his dwindling numbers in the polls. Okay, and what do I mean by that? His numbers are going down, right? But as the president of law enforcement, or whatever the fuck he calls himself, he has an image to uphold, right? For his constituents, for his base. If there's anything that Donald J. Trump knows what to do, I don't give him credit for a lot of things, but if there's anything I'm going to give him credit for, is he knows how to rile up his base. Okay? He really knows how to fire them up. Very divisive in his language. If you ever hear him, especially recently, he's strategically dropping divisive footnotes, like liberal Democrat cities run by liberal Democrats. He drops that phrase at least 50 times during whatever segment he's doing, whether it be a speech or an interview on Fox. If you were to play a drinking game, you would be drunk within the first 10 minutes. That's a guarantee. These liberal-run cities by liberal Democrats are blah, 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 blah. Okay? Divisive. It's actually basic political marketing. Okay? He's just looking to deepen the schism that already exists between the left and the right. And in doing so, that only agitates the situation and doesn't leave a lot of space for solutions. All right? Or coming to some sort of middle ground. And when I say middle ground, I mean fair equality. I don't mean like, a part of you abdicating your beliefs in order to, inch a little closer towards an absolute solution, right? No, middle ground means equality for all. That's what I mean, okay? And look, I'm curious to know what you guys think, all right? Because there's a lot of like specificities here that I can talk about that are going on in Portland, but you don't really need me for that. You don't. There are so many videos out there that are demonstrating what is happening in that city. And if you were to take the clips that are shown on Fox, which I've seen, and you put them side by side to the raw clips that exist on YouTube, you would see the change in narrative, right? You would see how the president is taking footage or taking ideas and notions and changing the story to better fit his image and better fit his ideologies. Okay, there's actually an ad going on right now where it shows the protests in Oregon, in Portland, and it says, you would not be protected under a Joe Biden presidency, or something along the lines of that. Meanwhile, this is going down under his watch, during his presidency. And that is what that is. Okay? And again, the situation is complex. Okay? Because I understand the argument of protecting, right, or fighting against violence, okay? But that just is not the case in Portland, Oregon. Like I said, you're always going to have your small groups of violence and rioters and looters and whatever. That goes on without say. It happens. It comes with the territory of protesting. Exploiters are going to exist in every aspect of the word. But to police and militarize a situation where you don't need militarization is fascism. Okay? That is the absolute definition of it. And I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you think the military is absolutely necessary in these areas, right? The president also says he's going to release the military in Albuquerque, Chicago, and New York. All right? And if you're from New York, there's an area downtown, City Hall Park, that was occupied by a lot of these protesters for the past few weeks, and it was cleared off last night. And there's a cleanup service going on. And look, I get it, right? The shit gets messy. There's graffiti all over the place. But again, that comes with the territory of progress. And I know that sounds crazy. And I have people that tell me that in essence is crazy. But there's a beautiful quote here that white people never love to quote when it comes to Martin Luther King Jr. But Martin Luther King Jr. says, "Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed." You know? And that's basically that. That's what I have to say on that matter. Let me know what you guys think. Peace and nothing but love.